we're talking about what's happening in the 731 on the Hub City Now with your host, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr.
Hello, and welcome to Hub City Now with Tyrone Tony Reed Jr. Today, our guest is
Sarah Clayborne, the original, authentic, legendary, world-famous pie lady.
All right.
Yes.
Miss Clayborne, I want to start off, we've met before, we've talked throughout the years, but I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? I am a visionary change agent. I am a survivor. I'm a grandmother, great-grandmother, mother. I am a author, entrepreneur, and I am a woman on a mission, 67 years young. And this is, I'm living in my fourth quarter, Tony, and first of all, I want to say thank you. For inviting me. I'm very humbled to be your guest. And I brought this for you. Your birthday was the other day.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. And this is from the original legendary world famous pie lady, Sarah Clayborne.
Well,
and
thank
these are
you
sweet
so much.
potato supreme.
Oh, okay. Thank
one
you.
in there for you and one for your wife.
It's very good. Her food is very, very good. Let's start off. A lot of people don't know that you're a culinary legend. But where did you begin? Where did you begin? Let's go back to your childhood.
Okay.
Where are you from, and how did you get started?
Okay. I am the first girl in my family. And I was born in Chicago on the south side, not far from where the president reside in Hyde Park.
Okay.
And it was I was born in 49, so I was the first girl in the building, and it was a unique building because everybody had their own rooms. And some people had 2 rooms. My grandmother had 2 rooms, and she had her own personal kitchen. So at 5 years old, she taught me to cook. Our first meal was black-eyed peas and okra and cornbread.
Okay.
My grandmother was an entrepreneur. She was a very strict disciplinarian. She was humorous, but she always said, be the task, big or small, do it well or not at all.
Okay.
Not at all was not an option.
Right.
She was a wet wash rag specialist. She popped that towel. But so that's where she initially tried to teach me. I learned how to crochet, needlework, and sewing. She was a perfectionist. So if I made a mistake, a crooked seam, I'd try to sew over it. And she was saying not take the, crack my knuckles. I was like, oh my God. So then I got to pick all this stuff apart.
Right.
But that got on my nerves.
Right.
I didn't want to. So I asked her, I said, well, Mama, do you please just let me cook. I don't want to sew. I regret that to this day. And my beautiful apron, my cousin in L.A., Louise, made this for me. She said she wanted me to look fabulous.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. So she put this together. And so I have fond memories back then when I was 12.
And your grandmother wasn't the only entrepreneur in the family, correct?
No, my grandfather, he had his own repair shop.
Okay.
And I have an aunt. Her name is Catherine. She opened up a sewing factory.
Okay.
And a couple of major stores in Chicago, bought from her. And what caused her demise was that they took so long in paying them their money for the product. It was 6 months, and she just couldn't afford to go there.
Right.
And so I had a very humorous family. We were very close together, and we loved playing the dozen signifying. and gambling. Yeah, so.
But so from those entrepreneurs and that entrepreneurial spirit, did that rub off on you? And if so, how so?
Yes, because it was my grandfather, he had two families.
Okay.
And my uncle, Junior, I think he was about 15, and Daddy Rufus had made him a snowball cart, and I saw it. And I was 7 then, so I wanted one, so he made me one.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandmother loaned me $7 and helped me, make the syrup and get the ice. So I started my own business. It was something, it was exciting, just being creative and doing your own thing.
Right.
And when I wasn't doing that, we walked dogs. I walked dogs in the neighborhood. I remember taking in laundry.
Mm-hmm.
And hustling pop bottles. I just enjoyed making money. Yeah. And
from there, I remember you saying that you started your own 4-H group.
Yes. It was 6 girls, and we were living on King Drive in Chatham in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got together and we had a bake sale. So we went door to door, taking orders. And then when we filled the orders, then people came back wanting more pies and cakes and cookies. So that was exciting. I was always in the middle of something. My mother said when I was a child, the 2 games I played was I was either the preacher or the teacher. So I love being in charge.
Right. And from there, where did you go?
From there, I got married when I was 15.
Okay.
And I lied. I told my mother I was pregnant. My mother was a strict disciplinarian.
Mm.
And so she believed me. And I was so afraid of my mother, it took me 9 months before I really got pregnant. That was really an experience. My husband was very cheap.
Mm.
And I remember $15 for groceries.
Mm.
It taught me how to be frugal.
Mm.
And it taught me to be wise and sagacious as dealing with money because I had an aunt, her husband, he was cheap too. So she would go to the store and she would buy roast and stuff that she took back and got the money for so she could have some money. But it was interesting. It was interesting. It was a abusive marriage. We had 2 children.
Mm.
And but I always had visions.
Mm.
When I was a child, I used to put my head up under the cover, and I would envision doing great things and taking care of people.
Mm.
And that kept my sanity because I was called a space cadet because I was way above my time. And so I didn't play recess. I didn't go outside. I didn't play. I was very serious and hung around elders.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more with the pie lady, Sarah Clayborne, and we're going to find out what tragedy she's had to overcome. We'll be right back.
There are many reasons why you should make Suits You your place for men's clothing. The absolute best in customer service, expert alterations, and more.
I come for the quality.
They have brand names and you just can't beat their prices. I like to be different, and the selections are amazing.
They have great looks and they're in my size.
And I come for the styles.
At Suits You, we really suit you.
At Suits You, we really suit you.
Welcome back to Hub City Now with Tyrone Tony Reed Jr. We're here today with Sarah Clayborne, the pie lady. No, let's let her do it the way she did it before. Can you say who you are again one more time?
I am Sarah Clayborne, the original, the authentic, legendary, world-famous pie lady.
That's right. That's right. So we've talked to you about your childhood and how you started cooking when you were young. But now, because I've heard your story before and it's an inspirational story, I want you to tell the audience about 2 major events that happened in your life that led to the creation of the Pie Lady.
Okay. Well, my daughter was shot in the head in 1987, September. She had just turned 18, and she and a friend was in the park.
And where was this at?
This was in Memphis, in Greenville Park. And I was just coming back from a convention, and my daughter called me and told me that Gina had been shot in the head, and I was just, she was screaming, and I was just standing there in shock because you hear about people every day with children being shot in tragedies, but now it was real because it was hitting home.
Right.
So I went to the hospital, and my daughter was laying in the bed, and her head was just swollen, all these apparatuses, and I looked at her, and I grabbed her hand, and I said, Gina, I said, if you can hear me squeeze my hand. So she squeezed my hand, and I said, do you believe that Yahweh is God? She said, yeah. Squeezing my hand. And so I prayed, and, Yahweh, I don't know why or what is the purpose. I know it had to be for a purpose, a good purpose, that this was occurring in my life. And I said, well, all things to be your glory, that this is whatever I'm to do. The doctors, they wanted to put a shot in her head. First, they wanted to abort the baby.
Oh, she was pregnant?
Yeah.
How many months?
She was 2 months. And so I said, no way. If the mother's going to die, a 2-month-old fetus cannot live outside its mother's womb. So what is the purpose? No. And she went into a coma and seizure. And so, just watching that, one of the things that I guess the insensitivity in the medical profession, because I ran upon some really, really...
Right, they seem disconnected.
Yeah. And, but I kept praying and believing that my daughter was going to get up out of that bed and everything was going to be all right. That was my faith. But one of the things that I wanted to do at that time, because 2 of the boys, it was 3 of them, one was 18, 2 was 16. And I forgave them then because that's when black-on-black crime had just really started.
Right.
And it was something about shooting in the head, shooting people in the head. And I was looking the game Grand Theft Auto, it was there. And I was telling people about this game is not what you need your children, because if your child is sitting up playing a game all day long, they become desensitized. They're killing people. They learn how to pimp, do all kinds, And so I couldn't understand. So people would get mad at me. But the irony of this, and I'm moving fast because it was just so much. And I was working at, I went to the Memphis Culinary Academy.
Right.
And the night that I was graduating, well, let me go back. I was working as a head chef. I was over the restaurant Sherrod's on Mill Branch and Shelby Drive in Memphis. And so I had a staff of 23 people, and I was told that I was hourly, that I couldn't work beyond 40 hours. And I said, well, I'm not going to,
Yeah.
So I hired my daughter and I said, well, forget this. I let her work 3 and I worked 2 because I knew I had to find me something else because that wasn't making sense. And that was one of the reasons I had to work for myself because I can't have people treating me any kind of way.
Right.
I'm not going to accept that.
Right.
So on my off day, I donated my time to this organization to teach women how to take their commodities and turn them into delicious, nutritious meals.
Mm-hmm.
So I called and asked about the food being there. And that's when I was told that this we had a party for 500, and I remember Chuck Parati, he owned Crown Distributors, and he wanted me to do the food. He said he was going to give me $500. Well, my employer decided, well, he would not tell me until the day up. And I'm most apt and adroit. I could do it, you know, with that short notice. But he gave me an ultimatum, and it was going to be on my off day, and I told him, well, your partner said under no circumstances was I to be here. He said, well, hey, you want to work? I said, well, I won't be here. And so I hung up the phone, and that was really a blessing. That turned out to be a blessing because you know in life you have these crossroads. You have to stand, and if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Exactly.
So bam, he called back. I said $1,500. You supply the food, the staff, and it's on. So naturally, he wasn't going to do that. So I looked around in the kitchen and I prayed, and I had some apples, and I took those apples and I made some pies. And my vision was that I was going to launch my own campaign to bring my daughter back to health. The year prior to that, our house had caught on fire, so we had a lot going on.
Right.
And so I made the pies. I went to, the first place I went to was Channel 5. And Jane Siegel, a few years prior, she had did a story because while we were living in Warren Gardens at the time, I launched a campaign in the neighborhood, the community, seeing all the blight and the men that killed in front of my house, and I was saying, no. And the vision in the past of wanting to help the community, so establish UED, Unified Effort Development. And I work with MIFA and the Center for Independent Living, and that's where currently the church health center is. And it was in that same building that we had the vision of that center being there. So I took her a pie and I said, Jane, I want you to buy a pie. She said, well, how much? You know, I said, $10. She said, $10 for a pie? I said, Jane, here. So I gave her the pie. And before I could get back home, they were calling me. They wanted to do a story. And so
the pies were so good.
It was so good, yeah. And I remember Mason Granger, he did the story. So from that story, doors started opening up because that was the night I was graduating from the Memphis Culinary Academy. And we were on there and the school wasn't. So that was a big deal.
Okay. Well, when we come back, we were going to take a quick break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about how the pie lady catapulted to fame and also about the legacy that she wants to leave behind.
In a world obsessed with throwing shade and putting others down, there's a college boldly committed to doing the exact opposite. A college that understands you are not defined by your yesterdays, where dreams are rekindled and hope restored. A place of new beginnings, transformation, and honor. Where a Christian liberal arts education is more than a piece of paper. It's where you start your story all over again. Start your story and discover the new Lane College.
Welcome back to Hub City Now with Tyrone Tony Reed Jr. And I have to have her do it one more time. We're here with
Sarah Clayborne, the original, authentic, legendary, world-famous pie lady.
All right. So you got the phone call. The news stations are calling you. What happens after that?
Well, the most interesting, right after that, I went to the Tri-State Defender, and I do a lot of reading, and one of the books I read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So I had this vision, these pies. So I go there because I'm looking for people with money to buy pies, and see the pies were $10, and we're talking about 1987.
Right,
$10 for a pie was extremely high, and but this was a fundraiser, and my thing is help me help myself. I'm not begging. I'm donate. I'm going to make these pies, and you're going to take them home and eat them and share with people. I hope, and bring some more orders so I can take care of my daughter.
Right.
And when I went there, they looked at the pies and they were looking all good, and so they said, "How much are they?" So I was $10. I'm not happy. $10. They wanted sweet potato, they wanted pumpkin, they wanted every kind of pie, but what I didn't have. So I'm standing there dumbfounded, holding these pies and trying to figure out what is the problem. Why, people who look like me didn't want to support me.
Right.
So a lady came in, Barbara Jones, and she bought the first pie. And she was a teacher at Carver High School. So Larry Walker, he's an artist and publisher of Be Visible magazine. He came in and he bought 2 pies. And what he did, he set one pie down on the table and let everybody sample. Well, when I left, I didn't have any pie. And so I learned from there, a taste will tell why our pies are so swell. And I can understand people debating about buying a pie, because I went in Kroger's and they had pies for $1.99. They had a whole table full. They had marked them down. So it's about the quality. So like I said, my grandmother taught me to be the best at what I did. I prayed over the pies. The pies were blessed. And
what was your, and we've talked about this before, but what did you want people to taste when they taste your pies?
I wanted them to taste God's love, because I asked that I be blessed, that my hands are blessed. And so when people taste the pie, they're tasting Yahweh's love.
Right.
And so from there, people, the pies also, the story had ran on Channel 5. And so all kind of offers were coming. A lady bought us a stove. People would come and they would buy pies. They were just buying pies. And, I met a lot of people, and one of the ladies I met, her name was Drew Clark. So she turned me on to The Firm. And right before
The Firm, the movie with Tom Cruise,
with Sidney
that was in Memphis.
Pollack,
right.
He gave me $100 tip. My when I met Sidney Pollack, Tom Cruise, they came to our restaurant. We had a little tiny restaurant on South Parkway in Memphis, and we had the honor of preparing food for them. And when they stayed over for Thanksgiving, we did the whole dinner.
Okay.
And so that opened up doors for other movies. When they came to town, they sought us out because we do a soul food without pork.
Right.
Healthy cuisine.
Right.
And so people in California, they don't like a lot of stuff with people in the South like. So
right.
We were the go-to people. So we have been in the first magazine we were in was Memphis Magazine. So we were in there. I think we've been in there 3 times. Then we were from Memphis Magazine. It was People Magazine, and we were in there twice in a 3-month period. There is nobody, no pie lady.
Right.
So Rob Report, Southern Living, Photos, every major magazine, and the way we were in People, the David Hutchins, when he did the story, he told me to send his editor the Glory Hallelujah Pie because it was a toss-up between the guy in the Vegas who had jumped out of a fight ring.
Okay.
And so when he received that, it was no contest. So Mariah Carey's on the cover, and so we're in 3 parts in People magazine.
That's awesome.
And then 3 months later, Lanny Jones, the then editor, he did a pub letter, a whole page. You know, that's $300,000 right there, talking about how awesome our pies was. So that was a blessing, you know. Challenge.
Well, with all the wonderful things you've done, all the things you've overcome, what's the legacy that you want to leave behind as the pie lady?
The legacy I want to leave behind for my family and all those out there is to start where you are, use what you have to create what you want, and forget about, we talk about haters all the time, hating. And I was one that was hated. I was hated so much until there were times I wanted to die, you know, and just take my life. I was tired of living. But praise Yahweh for blessing me to continue on. And that's because people only hate things and persons that are great.
Right.
And so they see your greatness before you even see it. So you can't be afraid. You have to just start where you are, you know. So I started where I was. I used what I had, and that's my wit, my intelligence, my culinary expertise, and I created what I wanted. So the legacy is to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and just do it, and surround yourself with people who believe and think like you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on our show today. How can people reach out to you if they want to taste your pie, purchase your pies, or you know, find out what your menu is, or find you? Okay.
Well, we have a page on Facebook, the World Famous Pie Lady. And our number is 731-215-7049. They can call and place an order. And, you know, it's not fully set up because at this moment, dealing with some health challenges myself, I'm leaning towards going to a more healthier cuisine because there's so many people who have dietary restrictions. So.
Okay. And so we thank you. We appreciate you being on the show. And we look forward to seeing you all again on the next show for Hub Sitting Down with Tyrone Tony Reed Jr. Thanks for watching.